What's good, YouTube? It's your main man, AB the Hero, and this is the biggest news going down right now in the Ballerverse. You got Stephen A. Smith and Lonzo Ball having a little tit for tat on the Twitters. Lonzo dropped this video in response to something that Stephen A. said on First Take, and Stephen A. has responded to this tweet from Lonzo Ball. We're going to show you that and discuss that here in a second, but I just want to catch y'all up if you're not caught up already. Now, Lonzo Ball dropped this tweet earlier adding Stephen A. Smith. And me, I like my smoke with a name on it, right? So if you're going to talk it, go ahead and put a man name on it and an ad and let people know who you're calling out. Lonzo did that here. Let's play the clip.
Please, Stephen A., who are your sources, bro? Please tell me who your sources are. Come on, man. Come on, man. You gotta stop yapping. And I actually like you, man. I don't even know you like that, but I like you. I'm coming back, man. Come on.
I love the nuance in that video because he playing the song, what you mean? And so he let him know, what you mean, Stephen A? You saying I can't do this, I can't do that? Hold up, who your sources? What you mean? And so I like this ZO2. That's why I had to bring out the ZO2 hoodie, because I like my Lonzo Ball spicy on these boys. All right, so he sent this tweet out. Now, this was in response to this from Stephen A. Smith. We're gonna play this for you here so you can get the full context, and then we're gonna show you how Stephen A. responded to Lonzo Ball after this. Now,
but Lonzo is proven to be a really good NBA player, somebody who can run the point, plays both sides of the ball, can run an offense. And it's really sad what happened to him. Those are doctors. Something went wrong in terms of these procedures that he has had. I don't think he'll ever be the same based off of what we're seeing and hearing and reading about. I've heard that it's even hard for him to get up from the sitting position. You can't play 50, 60, 70 games a year in the postseason and stuff like that. And it's sad because with DeMar DeRozan and Zach LaVine, if they had a guy like Lonzo Ball healthy, the Chicago Bulls would be even better than what we've seen. So I'm really, really sad for him. Yeah. I just hope that he ultimately is blessed enough to get.
Now, Stephen A. Smith right there, he said a ton. He said a ton. He said a ton. If you've been following the Ballerverse and these conversations for a while, you know that a lot of people, when them Bulls was at the top and they was doing their thing, they were like, well, shit, man, it ain't Lonzo. Lonzo ain't the reasons. Caruso, the other boy, Kevin rookie, all of these different names they was trying to throw in the sauce. And folks like me was like, yo, but wait a minute, don't discredit, don't bite the give horse in the mouth. And karma is on them Chicago Bulls fans right now who didn't believe in that kid Lonzo Ball, because it is consensus that that team would be a much better team if Lonzo had a plate. Now, Stephen A. said that, so I want to give him credit for that. I also want to shoot him some bail on the fact that obviously my man Lonzo ain't played in about it'll be 2 seasons and a half, damn near, I feel like, since he played a full game by the time he comes back, if he comes back at the start of next season. So it is not far-fetched to think that there's a chance that he won't be the same player. So I want to shoot him some bail on there. Now, where Lonzo is calling him to the carpet over is this idea that he can barely stand up. He's struggling to do that. It's sad. It's something going on. If you've been tapped in with the Ballerverse, you know that your boy Lonzo has surgery and things are looking up, and he gonna take this year to rehabilitate and recover. And so that's where Lonzo was like, bro, don't go to the wrong sources. Come to the horse's mouth and I will give you the info. But when you out here slandering, because what you got to understand with these professional athletes, when you start hearing these sources rumbling about, hey, he might not ever be the same, he could barely, it affects the bottom line. The check is affected. You just never know what's going on in that Chicago Bulls thing. They might have to move some people around. They starting to think, do we re-sign, cut contracts? And if they like, well, I heard Stephen A. say, you just never know. So with that, Lonzo Ball's tweet was, Stephen A. Smith, come to the actual source next time. I'm not hard to reach. Now, Stephen A responded to Lonzo Ball, and a lot of people didn't understand where Stephen A was coming from, but it's only because they saw the original video and not the combination of the tweet and the video. All right. So Stephen A responds here. And by the way, at ZO2, you don't know, you're welcome to. That don't make sense. I thought I was reading that wrong, but that just don't make sense. It's supposed to say, you're welcome to come on my podcast anytime you like. Stephen A. Smith Show. I'm taking live callers now too. We'll be on tomorrow live at 4 p.m. Eastern time on YouTube. I love the fam. All y'all are welcome. All right. So obviously we know, because we've seen Stephen A get pretty spicy lately with Podcast P and his cohort of hosts. We've seen him pull up on different people's podcasts and go head to head. He was over there on Cameron and them talking crazy. And so Stephen A, to me, with this tweet, did a really good job, because this Lonzo Ball video was pretty much going viral, and his response is something that people were waiting for. So if you're going to respond, what better way to respond than by plugging your own podcast? All right, plug the podcast, Stephen A. That makes sense. But what he's saying is, hey, if you are the source, then why don't you come on the show and let's talk about it? A lot of folks did not pick that up when they hear, is this your comeback? Lonzo Ball tomorrow on your show. Don't bring him on your podcast. You were right on, blah, blah. Have your source call in. Who are your sources, bro? People got these answers. They want to know. This man, wow. This dude hasn't been... So you see, it's a lot of conversation happened under this tweet, but that was Stephen A. Smith's response. He said something amazing. I would love to see Lonzo Ball actually on the Stephen A. Smith Show, because I will say this podcast that he recently did with Trae Young, and we're going to do a deep dive on this podcast because I think it's some good content in there and some good quotables from Lonzo, but he spoke on a lot of things that were super interesting. And one of the things that Stephen A touched on and Lonzo touched on here is this idea that this Chicago Bulls team was ready to go. And something that he said that I thought was interesting, that I don't think many people was aware of, but he said that, I'm gonna just play it for you. Let's go.
You with the Bulls, you get hurt, y'all number one in the East at the time. What do you think y'all season would have been like had you not been hurt? How you feel about the team? Y'all have a squad. Like, how'd you feel about it?
It's gonna be a big what if. I mean, for me, I feel bad just for the GMs, just because I feel like they made the perfect team around me, and I felt like I was involved in. That was the most I've ever been involved in an organization, and I finally got the perfect team. That I felt like to fit my game and play my way and really just do what I wanted to do.
All right, so that's it. The podcast is really good. But what I thought was super interesting is he said there he finally had the perfect team. He feels bad for the GMs who put that squad together, because his hands and his DNA was all on that team, and they were ready to go and ready to run, and he was playing his style of ball, and then that injury happened. So you'll never know how good they could have been until he returns, and hopefully the chemistry is still the same. I played that clip because I do not believe that we've ever really thought about or seen a team, and it makes so much sense why they were so good, where the consensus was that's Lonzo's team. They built that team for him to be the gas pedal and make it go. I said that back in the day. I don't know if a lot of people would have thought that was true or not, but I was interested to hear Lonzo say that. Shemaine, man, AB the Hero, we're going to be covering this as it unfolds. So stick around. Make sure you subscribe and all that stuff to the channel. We out. Peace.